Well, time for a short break. Off in search of a new piece of tubing that connects the stern tube to the stuffing box. And I need to take this stuffing box and I'm going to reuse it, but it needs a visit with a wire wheel and some cleanup. So anyway, off to the supply store, see if we can find that piece of hose. The stuffing box cleaned up very nicely. It's a nice shiny bronze again. Just took a little bit of time on the wire wheel. The hose connecting the stern tube to the stuffing box was a bit of a bugger to get out, but it'd been on there for 40 years and it was definitely time for a replacement. Adjusting the stuffing box is relatively simple. You release the inner, or I guess that would be the aft nut, and you tighten down the forward one and then lock them together. The tricky part is getting into this relatively narrow space here with a decent sized wrench. I've always used pipe wrenches and it was always a bit of a bugger getting them in there. There just isn't a lot of room. So I went on the interweb and I found these shaft packing wrenches. I wish I could remember the name of the place, but there's two of them. They work perfectly, so I built a little mounting bracket here in the back of the engine room. That way they're available whenever I need them. It's just real convenient. They're made out of aluminum and they really work well. I spent an entire day trying and failing to get the coupling back onto the prop shaft. It was a very frustrating experience. It's a couple of days later. I've been struggling with this drive shaft and coupling, trying to get the coupling back onto the shaft. Turns out there was a small burr on one side of the shaft that was holding things up, and I wasn't using big wedges on the coupling. But I understand that I have everything in order now. So we're going to give this a go and see what happens. Key fits in. Look at that. That's what I call progress. Still got probably a 1/4 inch to go, but we can achieve that by pounding in on the shaft. So, finally, some success. I think what I'll do is put a wedge in here, and then I'll go outside and tap the shaft in the rest of the way. That should do the job nicely. I would say that's good. All right, progress. Let me get these wedges out of here. Yeah, we're looking good. Now all we got to do is realign the engine here with the coupling. I've noticed a small amount of rust creeping out from behind the fasteners on the Boomkin Stay Tangs. So we're going to replace both of those tangs. The rust can indicate something called oxygen deprivation corrosion, which can lead to a failure of the tangs. A tang here, and other than the rust, I just noticed something else that's a little bit troubling. When you put a clevis pin in, it's a good idea to put it in such that gravity would hold it in if your cotter key failed. And I don't know how many years this one has been in, but it's upside down. Now, nothing has failed, but the correct way would be with the head here and the key down here. Now, the worst of the staining and such is removed from the hull. Fortunately, the new piece will cover what I couldn't get off, so time to start reattaching things. So first will be a good coating of some bedding. In this case, we're using 5200. Yes, I know this stuff is ghastly to remove, but I figure the next time these things are going to need to be removed, I'm not going to be around for anybody to complain about it. At least not to me. So we'll just put a good dose of 5200 in there. Hang with the bolts. All right, Mr. Turley. Well, there we go. All right. I think that's a wrap. Well, these are the original two tangs that we removed. From the outside, they look pretty good. On the back side, they look a little less good. There is some obvious corrosion taking place here and here. I'm going to take a wire wheel to them, clean them up a little bit, see what I can see underneath all of this material. But, you know, they are 40 years old. It's interesting. This one is the one that was on the starboard side. Westsail 28s are a little bit heavier on the starboard side due to the placement of the batteries in the water tank. So this particular one, especially this bottom portion, was oftentimes underwater. Not when we were sitting at the dock stationary, but any time we were moving at any speed under motor or sail, the lower portion of this would have been getting wet constantly. So we'll clean them up and see what they look like cleaned up, see if there's any surprises. Well, took a wire brush to both of these and found some interesting things hiding underneath the surface. We've got some corrosion taking place. It's interesting. Nothing shows on the front, on the outside portion of these two, but both of them do have a little bit of surface corrosion starting to take place on the back side. There's no cracks evident from any of the bolt holes, but well, I'm feeling pretty good that I changed these when I did. I mean, they did last 40 plus years, but yeah, that is interesting to see.